It's Sunday and we're talking health and wellness, and there are many ways that help achieve mental wellness and peace of mind that are often spoken about. Meditation, yoga, running, hiking, exercise, gardening are just some of them. One of the ways that is not always spoken about, and I certainly didn't know about this, and it's widely practiced actually, is silence. Now, you must have heard the saying, silence is golden. This is not far from the truth. A silent meditation or retreat, even a silent fast, can help in many ways, especially in this fast-paced era where people find it hard to switch off. Let's find out more about this from the Art of Living Facilitator for Breath Meditation and Silence Retreat, Dr. Anita Khoosal. Thank you very much for your time in studio. And like I just shared with my viewers, I was not aware of silent meditation or fasting. Tell us exactly what that is.
So how we experience it in the Art of Living Facilitator is in a retreat space. So silence is experienced in a very well curated retreat space, and the centerpiece of the retreat would be very deep guided meditations that help to pull out the deepest stress from your nervous system. And then the day would be also complemented with a lot of other elements that will help, that will be conducive to silence. For example, we would start off with sunrise yoga, powerful breathing techniques, that help draw out stress and tension as well. And then also wholesome food. It's very luxurious. And then we would do service. From a silent space, you're very well equipped to do service, actually. And then also you're exposed to timeless wisdom around silence. And the evenings would be spent in celebrative silence, soothing music. People often think that silence is a very serious thing. True silence is quite joyful.
Yeah, and does that mean silence is what I'm asking about here, that it's about avoiding noise entirely? You've just mentioned soothing music at the end of the day, but what are some of the other components that we take in consideration here? I assume I can still use my telephone or not?
Highly not recommended, because we're bombarded by sounds from digital media, right? So that doesn't help. So the first step would be practicing not speaking. So, and then deeper than that, remember, Rufia, there's a constant chattering that happens in your mind. So how do we quieten that? So again, we use powerful breathing techniques and meditation processes. Did you know that the mind has a constant stream of thoughts? They say there's a science behind this. It's been tested to have about 40 thoughts per minute that stream through. So how do we quieten this? So breathing techniques, and that's why there's a prerequisite before one steps into a silent retreat, is to do a flagship program where there's breathing techniques that are taught to quieten the mind. That's step 2. And then you are perfectly poised. Once you stop speaking and the mind is quiet, then you're poised for deep meditation. And through this, you suddenly become very self-aware. There's a heightened awareness. And then from that space, you dive very deep into the sanctuary of silence, where it feels noiseless.
So that definitely helps with issues of stress, anxiety, and I love the idea of being more self-aware. But what would you say are some of the other health benefits, whether they be physical, spiritual, or in the mind, when considering a silent retreat?
So you mentioned mental benefits, definitely, because you're decluttering your mind, self-awareness, so that you can make change. If you're not aware, you can't make change. Emotional regulation is a big one. Where your emotional reactivity decreases and you're able to better be more resilient with facing challenges from an emotional point. Also health benefits, because from the silent space, you know, you can enhance all your healing processes. This is where the power is. Yes, we can get some help from outside, but often those are triggers. Real healing happens from within. So a lot of healing benefits. And then even if you're a spiritual seeker, definitely a lot of saints and sages refer to the silent space as a symbol of that ultimate reality, where there's an interconnectedness of all things. There's a unity, there's a transcendence, where we actually do these programs not to receive joy, but to realize that at the core of our being, we are that joy. Yeah.
And I mean, let's talk about the popularity of it here in South Africa. Our program editor was explaining to me earlier that it's something that is quite popular in the East, and it's still gaining momentum, you know, in regions like our own. Are you finding, as a facilitator, that more and more people are exploring the option of a silent retreat?
100%. In fact, it's heartwarming to see lots of youngsters, people in their 20s, 30s, high achievers, just want to press a mental pause, you know, in their lives. And also, we took advantage of digital tools by making this available to other African countries, breaking geographical barriers, cultural barriers. Right now, we have a presence in like 10 different African countries. And it's almost like people look forward to this luxurious vacation. It's like a vacation because everything's taken care for you, for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's very interesting. And so I suppose as a final thought, are there any practical nuggets that our viewers can take away with them to incorporate some form of silent fasting in their daily lives? Because like we mentioned earlier, it's extremely difficult to keep quiet.
Yeah, so start with small steps. You know, you can start with a half an hour of mindful meditation or going for a mindful walk. No speaking, that is a prerequisite. Then you could do, you could consciously have your dinner without speaking. You start, and then if you have family, little children at home, you could say, all right, from 7 to 8 p.m., no digital exposure. And you'll be amazed at what unfolds. You know, suddenly there's creativity, you know, kids becoming more artistic, whatever it is. And then slowly you build capacity. And as the duration increases, say you can say, for half a day in this week, I'm going to be in silence. And you prepare for it. You create a Zen-like space in your home or your garden, no speaking, no digital exposure, because we get bombarded. You know, one message from your cell phone can trigger 100 thoughts, right? So then, and then you avoid multitasking, which we've become so good at. And then you mindfully would end off that session, you know, write down your insights and end off with some gratitude. But the main thing when you do it for yourself is to anchor that duration with some form of breathing, guided meditation. And ideally, if you can spend time in nature, because nature tends to quieten the mind.
Yeah.
But when you're with people, you tend to start becoming judgmental, compare, you know, so it becomes noisy. So if there's one takeaway I can say is that embrace the power of silence, because therein you can create your own destiny.
Amazing. Thank you very much for joining us in studio today.
It's been my privilege.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Rafi.
Very, very interesting insights there, and something for you to consider as we are overstimulated all the time. And of course, that is the Art of Living facilitator for breath meditation and silent retreats, Dr. Anita Khoosal.